Hey everyone, it's Rachel from Sugar Maple Farmhouse, and today we're going to make an authentic ragu alla Bolognese, and I'm going to show you all the secrets for making this delicious sauce. So there are a few secrets when you want to make an authentic Italian version of ragu alla Bolognese. This is a different sauce from an Italian-American Sunday sauce or an Italian-American gravy. This is something that you might get more in Italy and that you would find there in a restaurant versus something you would get here in an American restaurant. I'm going to show you all the secrets. I'm going to tell you everything today. I'm excited to do that, so follow along. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you can keep following along with everything I do here at Sugar Maple Farmhouse. And now, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is make a sofrito, and that is a combination of carrots, celery, and onion. There is no garlic in this authentic ragu alla Bolognese, and it's just kind of the way it goes. I know that's a little strange for kind of the American Italian taste palette, but this is how it is more traditionally and authentically made. So no garlic is going into this. We're adding everything to the food processor to get it nice and chopped small. And then there is one more ingredient I have to go grab that's going to go into this too. The last ingredient for our sofrito mix is pancetta. So that's going to go in here too. And then we are going to dice everything together. So the really important thing here is you just want to chop it so that it begins to get into smaller diced pieces. You do not want to do anything like a puree. You don't even want to get this to the point where everything becomes a little bit kind of wet. You don't want that at all. So you want to just chop this nicely so it's small and get it all incorporated together. All right, this mix looks pretty good here. I'm going to stop here. This is looking really great, actually. And here's what it looks like. So you can see all those small pieces of our mixture in there, our carrots, our onions, our celery, our pancetta, and everything is mixed together well, but it's also not wet. So that is pretty much exactly how you want it. I've turned on our burner. That's going to be the next step in the process. So that is heating up. I'm going to add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. And then I'm going to add some butter. So these two are going to melt down together, and then we're going to add our sofrito mix. Okay, that's all nicely melted. Let's add this mix in. Now this is going to cook down together for about 10 or 15 minutes before we move on to our next step. You want to make sure you are stirring this on a regular basis. It doesn't have to be non-stop, but a regular basis is good. So we are about halfway through our time now, and here is what the mixture looks like at this point. You can see it's all cooking down really nicely there, and I am able to kind of smash some of these carrots to be a little smaller, so everything is softening up really nicely. Okay, so the timer just went off, and here is what it looks like. Now we're gonna move on to our next step. So the first secret was that our sofrito mix really doesn't use garlic. The next secret is that ragu alla Bolognese uses multiple kinds of meat in the recipe. And that might not be a big surprise to someone who is an Italian American, because often your grandmother, your mother, your aunt, whoever may have put multiple different kinds of meat into the ragu. So today I am using beef and pork. And if you are having this in Italy, you might find that they also incorporate rabbit. That is pretty common there. But I'm using beef and pork today. And I am using a combination, a 1-to-1 combination. So I have 1 pound of pork, I have 1 pound of beef. Some people like to use less pork than they do beef, but I find that I like the combination to be even. I'm also sitting here chopping this because there is a really important next part, which is our next secret, is that once the pork and the beef are in here, you really don't want to let them brown. You want them to just become lightly pink colored versus the bright pink color that they currently are, and then you're going to add milk. So you can see here they are. I just put them in. And you really want to make sure that as they're cooking, they don't start to brown before you put the milk into the pot. Okay, I think my mix has lightened to a dull pink, and I do have some spots that I see a little brown coming in, so now I'm going to add my milk. Now the milk is really important. This is whole milk that I added. And the reason you want to use whole milk is because you want it to break down the fats in your meat that you are using and really help to make it tender. And this step is what really gives you the most tender meat in the recipe. So I've got my milk in there, and what we're going to do is we're going to sit here and let this simmer on low for about 20 minutes to a half an hour until a lot of the milk has evaporated out of there. That is really one of the keys here, is you want to put in your liquid ingredients and then really kind of let everything evaporate and cook really slowly so that your meat is nice and tender. A ragu alla Bolognese is more about the meat than it is the tomato. We will add some tomatoes here and a little bit of tomato paste, but it is really a recipe that focuses on the meat. Before I add this back to my burner back there, I'm also going to add in some bay leaf. If you can find fresh bay leaves, go ahead and use fresh. I have a hard time finding them, so I use dried. And then I'm going to add in 2 pinches of nutmeg. And we'll stir this in, and then I am going to put it back on the back burner here so that it can simmer for the 20 to 30 minutes and really give that milk time to break the fat in the meat down. Here is what the ragu looks like right now with the milk added in on the back burner, and before we start the simmering process for the milk. And then while that's going, I will work on cleaning up and getting ready for the next step. Okay, the timer just went off, and you can see here is what our mix looks like right now. And you can see that most of the milk has evaporated out of there. You get some of the butter, you get some of the olive oil, but it is mostly soaked up into the meat and evaporated. For the next step, I'm going to add in white wine. You want to use a dry white wine, and that's what's going to go into the pot now. Now, just like the milk step, This is going to simmer for 20 to 30 minutes. You really want to let a lot of that wine evaporate off, soak into the meat, and again, just kind of help to tenderize everything. In some parts of Italy, they may use a red wine. You might have seen that here too. But in my recipe and in the recipes I've studied to create this, I have always found it to be white wine, so that's what I decided to go with too. Here is what it looks like with our white wine into the pot now. Now let's put this back on the stove to simmer for another 20 minutes to 30 minutes. Okay, the timer just went off. Here is what the wine looks like at the end of 20 minutes. And I think this looks good. We're gonna go on to the next step. As a final step in the Ragu alla Bolognese, we are going to add in some canned whole tomatoes. Now, the recipes I looked at all used canned tomatoes, and if you want to use fresh, you can. I have some instructions for you on the website if you want to use those, but mostly the recipes were using canned tomatoes because they really want to get some of that sauce within the can as well. And then we are going to add in some tomato paste. Now, earlier I mentioned that Ragu alla Bolognese is really about the meat in the sauce and not so much the tomatoes, and that is true. So you will find in different recipes people adding various amounts of tomatoes, canned tomatoes, maybe even fresh tomatoes, and some tomato paste into the recipe itself. And here is what this all looks like once it goes into the pot. So you can see I'm just going to mix those in. I am not going to do anything to the whole tomatoes right now. I'm going to just put them into the sauce and incorporate everything and make sure that I get that tomato paste stirred in there as well. And then before we put this back on the stove, I'm going to add in 1 cup of chicken stock. Now all of this is going to simmer down together for 2 hours, and again we're going to let that liquid reduce. So here is what it looks like, and I'm going to take this back to the stove. Now the lid is going to go onto the pot and it's going to be slightly ajar, and this will let some of the steam escape as the liquid is reducing. You can stir this occasionally, but you don't need to be by it continuously as it cooks in this final step. So here is what my pot looks like with my flame on low. You don't want this to boil. You really just want to have it at a nice simmer for the next 2 hours. Here's what the ragu sauce looks like about 30 minutes into the cooking process. And you can see here that I'm just sitting here and I'm chopping up the tomatoes now that they've softened in the sauce. This is what the ragu looks like about 1 hour into the cooking process. You can see I'm still sitting here chopping the tomatoes with my spoon and just stirring it lightly. Here's what the sauce looks like with about 30 minutes left on the timer. You can see a lot of that liquid has reduced, a lot of it's evaporated, and we are getting close to finishing this up. All right, so the ragu is almost done. I am going to put together some finishing touches. We are going to use rigatoni today for the pasta because I was out of everything else. So that's going to go in salted water in just a few minutes. I'm going to chop some basil and I'm going to shred some Parmesan. Here's what the sauce looks like when it is done. You can see all that liquid has pretty much cooked off. The beef and the pork are so tender, and all of those ingredients are so well combined. It smells amazing. I cannot wait to dig into this. Okay, the ragu bolognese is done. Right, here we go. Gosh, that looks so amazing. Look at all the steam coming up from everything right now. Of course, I didn't bring a fork. Okay, I like to top this with just a little Parmesan cheese and then a little touch of either basil or parsley. I try not to go too crazy to take away from the ragu flavor itself. We've got some beautiful chunks of tomato in here from the whole tomato still that really cooked down nicely. And this meat is so tender. Gosh, this is just so amazing. I love that you can really still taste some of the wine in here. The milk just made the pork and the beef so dang tender. You can even get hints of the carrots and the celery and the sofrito that we put in here. It's just a beautiful, beautiful blend of flavors. Thank you all so much for joining me here today at Sugar Maple Farmhouse. I hope you love learning how to make ragu alla Bolognese and all the secrets that go into making the sauce. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section below and I'll be sure to get back to you. I will also leave the link to the full instructions and the recipe in the description below, which you can find at sugarmaplefarmhouse.com. Before you go, if you have yet to subscribe, I'd love to have you here. I cook, I craft, I garden, I DIY. There's a little bit of everything. I really like to stay busy and keep my hands busy. And if you like to be busy too and keep your hands busy, this is a great place for you. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.